Hi, Jodi Hardesty with Empowered Heart Connections. We've been talking about neurodivergent versus neurotypical partners in relationships. And I am going to talk today about how people who have a neurodivergent type brain can cope with overwhelm in relationships. So we're going to talk about some strategies here. One is the pause and process script cards. So keeping small cards or notes, and you can do this on your phone or in paper, whatever works for you, with helpful phrases to use when you're feeling overwhelmed. I know it sounds cheesy, but having some structure and some strategy that you can do can help rewire your brain. So having on those pieces of paper or in your phone or however you want to document them, saying things like, I'm feeling overstimulated, I care about you, and I need a moment to regroup, right? So these are just some lines that you can say, some scripts that you can use to give yourself a resource to take a moment and regroup. Because sometimes when we're feeling overwhelmed, whether we're neurodivergent or not, we can overreact or shut down or try to escape. Right? But we want to be able to do this in a way that's productive in our relationship. So having something like that, or something like, I want to respond kindly, so I need to pause and come back to this later, can be a really effective way to have your partner understanding that you're in a different place and that you just need some time. And then the trick here is to make sure you come back to it later, because those of us who prefer sticking our head in the sand and avoiding things are probably one of those people that may not come back to the subject. And that's going to leave your partner feeling like you're not caring about the topic. So make sure you're coming back to this. But this can help create safety for both partners while also honoring your processing needs. Another tool is emotional regulation menu. So creating a menu or option of tools that you can use whenever you are feeling distressed. And this is probably different for most people, but sometimes it's helpful for most people, but particularly for those of us who are neurodivergent, to get some movement. So a short walk or even just kind of stomping in place, moving your arms, just moving your body can kind of help get you out of that fight or flight mode if you're feeling really overwhelmed. Listening to your favorite music, your playlist. Typically it's more helpful if this is uplifting, but not always. Journaling or drawing what you're feeling, depending on whether you're artistic or not, this might be really cathartic for you. Breathing or the tapping exercises. There's emotional freedom technique where there's tapping. You can look that up. And texting instead of verbal processing. So maybe slowing down your processing can be helpful. And again, make sure you're proofreading before you send out any texts or emails. But getting it out kind of verbally and slowing down the process can help you kind of regulate while you're communicating and before you press that send button. And you can post these menu of ideas somewhere where you can have it visible to you. Again, you can have it on a text to yourself, or you can have it on your phone somewhere, or you can have it on a notepad. But whatever works for you, whatever strategy works for you. A relationship regulation routine is another strategy. So building structure by creating a regular relationship rhythm. Weekly check-ins, as we've mentioned in other videos. How are we doing? What do we need? Are we connected? Are we disconnected? Especially if you're one of those who's really benefiting from taking a pause before dealing with things in conflict, making sure you're coming back to those during this time. Scheduling process time for those tough conversations. So not when we're flooded, right? So when we do come back to it, to maybe schedule, hey, I've had some time to process that conversation we were having the other day that was tricky for me, and tomorrow maybe let's set a time so we can touch base about that. Intentional connection time, so low pressure connection time. That's safe for our senses. So something that's just kind of hanging out. It can even be doing one of those kind of dual activities where maybe you're both just in the same place, just kind of sharing a space together, or even just quietly preparing dinner together that maybe you don't even have to have a lot of conversation, just a casual, comfortable time to find to connect. And knowing when connection is coming can help reduce anxiety during conflict, especially if you are having those consistent times when you are really connecting and touching base, especially around those high conflict areas, so that it doesn't have to become even more escalated. Another tool is internal traffic light system. Again, I know these sound cheesy, but we're working on recognizing and regulating our nervous systems. So having strategies to help you do this, since most of us have not learned these strategies as children, we have to learn these as adults. It's inspired by our different types of characters in our personality that we all have. So recognizing these visual cues to help name your current emotional state. Green, right? We're doing green, yellow, red, like a stoplight, like a traffic light. Green is I feel calm, I feel regulated, I'm open to connection, versus yellow, I feel a little bit off or anxious or confused. I may need time for clarity. And then there's red, I feel really overwhelmed or feel shut down, and I need some space, I need some quiet or some grounding in order to be able to communicate better and really understand what's happening with my body. And if you can share your color with your partner and to increase mutual understanding, and they may also appreciate the strategy for themselves. Because again, whether you're neurodivergent or neurotypical, most of us aren't real skilled at recognizing where we're feeling emotionally, because many of us are kind of in that survival mode of, I'm fine, thanks, how are you? I'm fine, right? We just kind of generalize to the status quo, and we don't really do a lot of digging. So helping you and your partner regulate emotions can be super helpful. A relationship journal or a shared log can be helpful. Keeping a shared digital or physical space for notes, feelings, and reminders can be a nice way for you guys to find other strategies to connect and really keep in mind and be proactive about what's working and what's not working. So some of the things you can write down is that what worked this week? What are we struggling with? What felt really hard? What do we want to try next week? And also making sure you're really celebrating those successes no matter what. This tool can externalize emotional processing and also adds structure, which those of us who are neurodivergent can often really benefit from. Another tool is the What I Need map. So we're going to create a reference guide about your needs during hard moments. So this is basically for you to really establish what you need in those moments. Is when I'm overstimulated, I need what? What does that look like for you? Fill in the blanks there. Do I need a break? Do I need maybe my partner to put their hand on my shoulder, or do I need my partner to give me space? And when I feel criticized, I need blank. Do you need space in that moment? Do you need recognition? Do you need validation? And again, remember that we don't have to agree to validate how someone else is feeling. So for example, again, as a reminder, hey, I'm really sorry that upset you. That wasn't my intention, but I understand how you heard it that way and it came across that way. That I get that was hard for you. And I'm empathizing. I'm sorry that was hard for you. That's not at all what I wanted. Right? Again, that's different than, you're right, I'm a total jerk and I said something really rude and I intended to hurt your feelings and I'm not sorry, right? Those two totally different things. You can empathize with someone's feelings even if you had no intention to hurt their feelings. When I withdraw is another example here. When I withdraw, please don't blank, but instead try blank, right? So when I withdraw, maybe please don't follow me around the house and asking me incessant questions, but instead try to give me a few moments and give me some time to kind of relax and regulate. And review together when you're both regulated, when you're not in conflict, what these tools look like for each of you. So what this looks like for both of you is, okay, so for you, you need this and I need that. So you're really clear whenever you are in a dysregulated state or when you're feeling overwhelmed, how to come together in a more peaceful way. Using timers and scheduled breaks during conflict is a pain because nobody wants to do that. We all want to just go until we're done. Right? Except for those of us who are shutting down, right? And we're just totally done. So, but mitigating the time that you're spending just getting lost in these conversations can really improve connection and decrease escalation. So if a conflict does arise, agree to take a 15 to 30 minute sensory break with a timer, and then return to the conversation at a specific time. And also provide limits with the conversation. So if it does become an hour, 2 hour conversation, it's pretty likely that one or both of you might be getting overwhelmed or dysregulated because it's a lot of time to spend having emotional content in conversation. So taking the timer for the break and also having that limited time whenever you're responding to each other. Make sure you're offering equal time to each other to have airtime too in those moments. It's not I get to talk at you for 35 minutes and then we're done. It's, hey, let's each take 5 minutes to say what we need, each take 5 minutes responding, and then, see where we're at, right? And again, you can extend the time if it feels like everything is going well. But having that limit can make it feel a little bit more manageable, especially for people whenever they do get overwhelmed with conflict. And again, remembering that it doesn't have to be conflict. You can have a conversation that you're disagreeing that doesn't have to be high conflict. Visual environmental anchors can also be helpful. Ground your nervous system and build routine using sensory aids. So sometimes this is a weighted blanket or compression clothing or noise-canceling headphones. Color-coded reminders or visual calendars for emotional check-ins can be helpful. LED lighting or scent diffusers to create a calming relationship space. And you can include these things whenever you are having those conversations. Again, so you're kind of getting re-rooted in your body. Your nervous system is in that, hopefully that parasympathetic, that rest and digest, calm place. And you're having your sensory experience that is aligned with that. That's helping you stay supported and comfortable in that place. Mindfulness anchors for reconnection can also be really helpful. Practice one or more grounding strategies to return to center and to being more emotionally regulated. Doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sensory grounding. So like, what are 5 things that I see, 4 things that I can touch, 3 things that I can smell, 2 things that I can sense or smell, right? So just really anchoring all of your sensory experiences to orienting yourself to that moment. So coming up with those topics for each sensory experience can really help you getting re-rooted and grounded into the room. And doing a body scan. So when those of us who are feeling overwhelmed tend to shut down, sometimes we kind of mentally leave our body. It's like we kind of float up somewhere. And getting back in your body, physically noticing what it feels like to have your feet on the ground, what it feels like to be sitting in your chair, and really noticing those experiences can get you back to your parasympathetic nervous system and really being regulated. Reciting affirmations. Again, I know these sound cheesy, but it can be really helpful because think of all the things that we tell ourselves in our head that are not helpful and how they activate our emotions. So when we're telling ourselves things that are helpful, like reciting affirmations, I am safe, this can be worked through, we can handle this, I can get through this, right? Those are really strategies that are telling your nervous system that it's okay, that I can handle this, right? And rather than what we typically do whenever we're anxious or overwhelmed is, oh my God, this is terrible, it's the worst situation in the world, my partner's gonna leave me, or whatever those tragic thoughts are. So making sure those thoughts are more productive. You can do this by yourself or you can do it as a co-regulation kind of strategy with your partner. And again, the more you're open to trying these things, whether they're cheesy or not, and being open with this with your partner, the more likely you are to have success in conflict resolution. And then finally, neurodivergent affirming coaching or therapy, again, can be really helpful. Having a professional who understands your processing style can really help you learn strategies that can help you cope and work specifically with your personal needs, because all of us are a little bit different. And again, we can help work with you developing scripts, boundaries, and communication bridges. We can help heal maybe some historical trauma that might be keeping you stuck and build trust in your own relational instincts. So again, making sure you're reaching out for support if you're really struggling can really make a difference. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, if you can, like and subscribe this if you found it helpful, and share it with whoever else you might think might enjoy this. Thank you so much.